I have to explain the transportation system over there in order to move forward on what we're talking about now. The rules and laws that we go by here in the United States, there is a worldwide driving system of understanding signs, which side of the road you drive on, the line down the middle, whether it's dotted or not, passing zone, no passing zone. Those are kind of general laws and rules worldwide.
That's my friend Trent, explaining some of the intricacies of driving internationally.
Solid line or dotted line, passing zone, the white lines on the right, the signs, caution, S-curve, which is something you have to go through and learn in order to get an international license to be able to drive anywhere. I had that, so we get over there. What's not explained is, at the time, Saudi Arabia didn't have a driving age. So, like in the United States, you have to be 15 to get a permit, 16 to get a license. You had 10-year-old kids driving little, and I don't know why, but everybody over there has a little white Toyota Nissan pickup. They're everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And you would see kids. Of course, they're wearing the robes and stuff like that, more or less, not jeans and a t-shirt. And they've got the headdress on. But you had kids that, and when you'd see them at the gas station, you'd open it, they had milk crates for seats and extended things on the pedals so that their feet could reach them.
So this isn't like sneaking out. I mean, this is
normal everyday
Yeah, this
operation.
is just everyday life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the previous episode, Trent Redwine, and I talked about the venture he had into the military, his training in communications, then deploying in the Middle East during Operation Desert Shield and Operation Desert Storm, and becoming the driver for the colonel overseeing all of the comms for the entire theater of war. If you're just now dropping in, I encourage you to listen to this episode and then boomerang back to that episode so you know how we got here. Now, I've known Trent for, as of the recording of this, 15 years. And I can nail it down to an exact date for reasons that I will tell you about in a future episode. Right now, Trent leads Shepherd's Fold, a reentry ministry that serves men coming out of Alabama's prison system and making their way into the free world. There's a link to their website down in the show notes, so check that. Over the past few months, our company, Amplify being an organization that helps faith-driven communicators platform their message, streamline their processes, things of that nature, and really move into the online digital space. I've linked Amplify in the show notes too, so you can take another kind of rabbit trail there. We've been helping Shepherd's Fold on a few things. As part of that project, we decided to help Trent create a podcast so he could better communicate with donors and volunteers and people needing the ministry's help. So we described the program for a few episodes. We were already midstream into his project when Trent came one night to the American Legion Post 9/11 in Hoover and spoke to the entire post there. As we kept working on the podcast to promote his ministry, and then after hearing pieces of his story there that I hadn't heard in the previous 15 years, but I knew about, I just asked him, I said, hey Trent, why don't you share some of your story on the podcast? Again, I knew a lot of that story. I've known him for a decade and a half, but there are parts that I still, after all that time, did not know. And it had started coming out at that American Legion event. I knew it would help make the ministry even more relevant, and I knew it would build people's confidence in his capacity to lead them, and that he really does know what he's talking about when it comes to prison reentry. And again, all of that will become readily apparent as you hear the story. So he agreed, and we sat down, and we talked in mine and Beth's tiny house. That's really not tiny, different story for a different place. And after we recorded it all and I started putting it all together, I just thought and said, hey, Trent, can I post this on my podcast too? Can we just cross-post this in both places? And he said, yeah, sure, of course. Which means you might be listening to this on the Shepherd's Fold feed, or you might be listening to this through my feed. Wherever you're at, welcome. I really want you to engage with Shepherd's Fold and follow those links and learn more and maybe even join us at the annual lunch. I'm Andy Jenkins. I write and create courses and talk at workshops and live events to help people overcome the soul and spirit hurts we inevitably encounter so we can stop living out of the pain and more readily fulfill our purpose. Here's one of the reasons why. It's really hard to live fully present and grab hold of your future when you're clinging hard with 2 handfuls of your past. Now, let's roll into the story. Imagine, if you will, you're riding along in a Japanese version of a Cadillac Escalade, except it's been reinforced for combat patrol. You're with Trent, he's driving, and the Colonel, overseeing the communications for Operation Desert Storm. We'll make this relevant to where you are right now in the process. I promise. Buckle up.
So I'm a driver for a colonel in Desert Shield at the time. We're moving around, making connections, going to different meetings that the colonel has to be in with the higher ups to be, to know what equipment he needs to put where to accomplish what they're setting up to do and moving forward.
The U.S. Armed Forces are moving forward, but the more they move forward, the more they've got to be able to communicate forward. Right. So you guys are doing all of that.
And we've got
you've got to go with the pace they're going.
We got to keep our people moving.
And it was pretty quick.
We don't have the entire military communication equipment. We have 57 single battalion.
Yeah.
And they did not follow the rules that we're accustomed to at all.
Well, because they're just, I'm putting that in perspective. I'm thinking,
when you pull up to
my youngest kid, putting him in a car,
when we would pull up to a stoplight, okay, they did have stoplights there. Light turns red, you've got left lane, right lane, maybe a turning lane on your left or on your right, depending on...
Do they actually stay in the lanes? Because when I was in Africa, they don't. They just all pull up. So you'll go from 3 lanes to just everybody clumped.
And if they could fit a car in between you and a car beside them, they were going to put it up there.
Yeah.
So you would have 2 lanes, but you may have 6 cars.
Yeah, on the front line.
On the front line. And then everybody else behind it, kind of like a bag of marbles that you just toss in a bag and they fall in where they fall in. And the second that light turns green, every single vehicle there is on their horn. Don't matter if there's just 2 vehicles there or if there's 105. Every single one of them's on their horn.
It's like Pavlov's dog. It's an automatic reaction. They say it where you grow up learning that.
Yes.
Pavlov's dog. Let's talk about it, because it plays into how we process events that mark us good or bad. The phrase Pavlov's dog refers to a famous experiment by a Russian physiologist, Ivan Pavlov, who discovered classical conditioning. He decided to ring a bell every time he fed his dog. It didn't take long for him to notice that every time he rang the bell, the dog automatically thought he was about to eat. So, in the process, Pavlov proved that animals could be trained to associate neutral stimuli, like bells ringing, with automatic reflexes, salivating for food, causing them to drool just by hearing the bell. Now, in the previous episode, I mentioned that anytime you experience an elevated event, something that marks you, like a bell when you're about to get fed, or even something dangerous that might have damaged you. The memory is stored in your subconscious mind, and it's stamped with all the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures, such that in the future, when you encounter any sensory data like that data, you recall that first event like the ringing bell without even trying to think about what this means. It just happens. It's why we hear songs and immediately recall high school proms, specific seasons of life, and even sometimes difficult times like hard breakups. Or it's why we smell something, fall leaves or apple pie, and are immediately in our thoughts taken to another specific time and place. It's important to note, this works for, let's just call them in air quotes, good marking events, like Pavlov's dog getting fed dinner. And it works for, again, air quotes, bad events. So, this whole thing can elicit a protective posture to a hurtful event, and it can become the default defense to a like event in the future. And draw it out. And keep on doing it, and eventually it looks like post-traumatic stress. Again, for clarity, I recorded an entire episode on how this works. It's called The Barking Spider. Weird title, I know. I'm going to link The Barking Spider in the show notes so that you can just explore this concept more. Now, in Trent's story, right here, the light turns green, and like a Pavlovian canine response, everyone honks. It's automatic. It's based on, let's use the word, a trigger.
And then it's just a free-for-all to see who can get going without getting knocked out the bunch as you're moving down the road.
And all the cars just kind of bounce off each other, don't they?
Pretty much.
But there aren't a lot of major collisions.
No.
Or there's like...
And that's what's amazing, because there was no speed limit over there either. And
so no age limit, no speed limit.
When there was an accident, there was no hauling the vehicle away. They just leave them there. They push them off the side of the road and leave it there.
When I was in college at Sanford, about this same time. So a little after, the professor had been back and forth several times. We read some books, and the oil had made people so wealthy that they would buy vehicles. And when the car ran out of gas, and many times it would be like a Mercedes or something that we would think of as a luxury car, and it would be, runs out of gas, they just leave it on the side of the road, go get another one.
Yeah.
Like that's the life expectancy of the car.
That was a normal thing when you're over there driving around. When I was driving around Saudi Arabia, even when we got into Iraq, it was common to see a perfectly decent vehicle just sitting on the side of the road. But then you had people that had vehicles, when they need a part, you just see them pull up to a vehicle, walk over there, and take the part off the car that's sitting there on the side of the road for their car. You see them out there with tools just taking parts off.
That's probably why. It's been abandoned.
It was strange. They didn't obey passing or non-passing. You could have a solid line of traffic coming towards you from the opposite direction. You're in a convoy, or just even by ourselves, going down the road this way, and a car comes up behind you, flying up. They're going to get over in the middle of the road, whether cars are coming or not. That's immaterial. If they want to, they just start getting over in the middle of the road. The cars coming towards you scoot over, kind of all the way over on the side of the road, and then you're expected to move over to the right and let them come up the middle and pass you. There's no waiting until it's clear. It's, I'm coming through, get out the way. And so those are some of the things that you learn to deal with over there. It's just the different environment that they have been raised in and what's accepted there and compared to what's accepted here.
One of my college professors, not the one referenced above, who had us reading about the Middle East shortly after the time all of this was unfolding real time in history, he said something like this, grab it. Where you stand on an issue depends on where you sleep at night. Where you stand on the issue depends on where you sleep at night. Meaning this, where you grow up and the place you call home, your culture, your background, it impacts a lot. And that has to do with driving. It also has to do with the adverse childhood experiences that become a part of your default way of viewing the world. It has to do with how you interact in relationships. And it has to do with, well, just about everything else.
I'm explaining this because this is the same type of issues that people coming out of incarceration deal with and coming back into our society today.
Notice how Trent ties it to previous incarceration. Because if you're incarcerated, you spend a lot of nights sleeping behind bars. In episode 1 of his podcast, The Fold, it's linked down in the show notes, we talk about the free world being an entirely different world than the prison world. It's not that one is free and the other one isn't, as if that's the only differentiator. I mean, they are two entirely different planets.
Side trail here, we're going down over there in the Middle East. The way that people are treated and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, is totally different. We had to go through training before we went over there about you don't show anybody the bottom of your foot. That's like flipping them off.
Sounds like an odd custom. Here's why. The bottom of your foot is the dirtiest, lowliest place of the body. Over here in the West, we think of feet as well nasty, but we have shoes and socks, and our feet don't generally make much contact with the ground. Think of other places, though, where they don't have shoes. Or maybe they have sandals. A lot of times they have bare feet, and the roads aren't concrete, and people are walking through fields and mud and manure, and, well,
they're spitting in their face.
I can't think of any time that I've showed somebody the bottom of my foot anyway.
Americans have a tendency that when they sit down, they cross their legs.
Okay,
They
gotcha.
put a foot up. Okay, that's taboo over there. You don't do that.
You don't cross your legs.
No, because you would ultimately the bottom of your foot would face somebody
somehow. Oh, not the whole direct foot. Any part of the bottom of the foot.
Right.
Okay.
And so you didn't do that. Also, over there they don't. Over here, if you cut somebody off, if you do something driving down the road, if you make a move that scares somebody else, whatever, they'll flip you the bird. Everybody over here knows what that means.
Yeah.
Everybody over here, that's a common, quick, you ain't got to communicate, just a quick, hey, buddy.
And then they drive on.
And
That's
then
done.
drive on.
Yeah. 5 seconds later, it's over.
Okay, over there, they don't do that.
They don't flip the bird?
No. They make the okay sign, what we call the okay sign. with
Oh,
our
yeah.
hands.
That's the...
Index finger and thumb together with your 3 fingers up, the okay sign.
That's a butthole.
Okay, over there, that's they're flipping you off when they do it. I didn't know that.
Well, I just told you what it is. Like, that's what you're... Hey, you...
And so I'm over there driving under the rules and laws that we know here, and I'm obeying those and trying to stay within the boundaries of what... These cars would come flying around me.
Did you flip them off?
I mean, just flying around me. But every one of them would be sticking their hand out the window giving me the okay sign. And I'm like, oh, cool. Nice to see you.
Did you give them an okay back or a thumbs up? He goes...
Come to find out, they weren't okaying me.
Yeah, they weren't going, hey, great, thank you for moving over. Okay,
They were okaying me. That was how they did that. So that was a funny event that I learned over there. Not everything that we know and see is common everywhere else, and that's a mindset that people will fall into coming out of prison because they got used to something that was normal behind the fence, and that behavior has to change.
Yeah, it's different rules.
Different,
even if they're unwritten. I want you to notice, and this is important, the rules of the past that you're operating on, even if they don't work where you currently are, they aren't necessarily bad. In fact, they might have served you well during a different chapter of your life. Or they might be the exact rules you would need in a different time and place, even now if you just shifted locations. But sometimes we need to adjust, especially when those rules no longer serve us.
We were going down the road over there in Riyadh. Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. and we were going over there to meet with the headquarters department of the 101st Airborne. The colonel was going in because the movements in the theater were fixing to set up to cross the border into Iraq, and so they're putting everything together and figuring out how they're going to do it and what we're going to set up this and that. So coming into Riyadh, there's just like any other major city, you've got a 6-lane interstate coming in. Cars, a lot of traffic. We're coming into Riyadh, and they have cloverleaf intersections just like everywhere else. You got these big, huge interstate cloverleafs where cars are coming in and going. Now, you need to realize that before I came over to Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, I had to go through training as the colonel's driver to know what I could possibly be dealing with.
All the clover leaps and all, because this isn't Ulagat.
No, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
This is we're going into a hostile environment where Americans have never been before.
Were they considering Saudi Arabia hostile?
The Middle East was
Or they're
hostile.
saying there's potential, because they were an ally.
They're an ally.
We were staging ourselves in.
But Americans had never been in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
At that point, no American had
That was
ever...
the first boots on the ground. A bit of history right here. The U.S. began sending troops en masse for Operation Desert Shield. The Shield was the big buildup to protect Saudi Arabia and other allies from Saddam Hussein's invasion. The Storm was when we officially moved in against him and crossed into Iraq. Prior to this 1990 deployment, the United States had already established a presence in the country, but it was small. It only included earlier security and training missions, such as the deployment of AWACS. Okay, so again, military. We're going to stumble upon an acronym for everything. That's the Airborne Warning and Control System. So the AWACS aircraft and personnel were sent to Saudi Arabia back in the 1980s. But it was much smaller, nowhere near 500,000. The 1990 buildup for Desert Shield was the first time the U.S. launched an overseas deployment of that scale to the region. Remember, 500,000 troops at the peak.
Their mode of understanding of everything in life is totally different than ours because they're Muslim. They're on a grand scale. They have different beliefs, different understanding, different laws.
It's a completely different worldview.
Yes. And so even when we first got over there and our equipment got there and we took it off the boats and we were driving to wherever we was going to, an entire convoy got pulled over and they arrested every female driving a vehicle because females ain't allowed to drive over there.
We're not allowed to do anything.
Right.
Side note here. One of the predominant cultural ideas that perplexes me today is the overt tolerance people have for the Muslim religion, which, by its very standards, is the most intolerant worldview on the planet right now. And it leaves a wake of rape, of oppression, of intolerance to other ideologies and ideas, a wake of fraud and theft, of genocide and terrorism, literally everywhere it goes. And it's not like we're just hypothesizing when we make statements like this. We can look at Iran before and after 1979 when it became Muslim, and it is completely different. We can look at present-day Palestine. The transgender LGBTQIA plus groups which campaign for Muslim rights and are pro-Palestine have not read or researched the issues and are blindly unaware that they would be the first and foremost group of which Muslims will be intolerant. And actually, in some cities in the U.S. today, where there are all Muslim city councils, you see them pushing out, in the name of their religion, all sentiments of Pride Month.
But I'm over there driving. I had to go through training of how terrorists are trained to take someone out.
While they're driving,
I'm driving the
how
colonel.
to
If they see him as a prime target to get so that they can get intel, information, whatever, there are certain setups that you have to watch for, especially when you're on a 6-lane highway going into the state capital of Saudi Arabia.
Let me say, why would you guys, before you describe that, why would you guys be in a military vehicle?
I mean, that's what we had.
Yeah, why would you guys not have painted it or disguise? I mean, like, it's still, you're not going to disguise it that much, but in the previous episode, Trent mentioned that he had one M16 rifle with 180 rounds. Sounds like a lot on the range, but that won't last long in a gunfight. I mean, we're talking like minutes or less. And the Colonel only has 7 rounds in his .45 pistol. 2 bullets for the 2 communication devices they carry, 4 bullets for 4 tires, 1 bullet for the driver, for Trent.
And so I'm looking and I'm watching, and one of the things you were to watch for is a vehicle getting in front of you, making a concerted effort to get up and get ahead of you, and then a vehicle behind you that would come up close. Okay.
It's because front's gonna slow down, back's gonna push up. They're gonna sandwich you.
Yes, and then another vehicle is going to come flying by that is going to shoot the driver first. Driver always gets shot first in every scenario. That they want to take the driver out first so that you can't
get the survivors away.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here I am. This vehicle pulls in front of me. Now I'm watching. I'm paying attention to everything else. Okay, I'm in 6-lane traffic. Maybe he just needed to get over. He pulled over. I'm watching. There's a vehicle behind me, but it's been behind me for some time.
This has got to be hard because these guys drive close and tight anyway.
Extremely close, yes.
Like it's not like in the U.S. where
they leave plenty of room. No.
Yeah.
And then I see this big, huge SUV.
So his training is: you're about to be trapped by a team of 3 terrorist vehicles. First, from the front, that slows you down. Second, from the back, that rams you up to the one in the front and basically vice grips your vehicle together. And then the third, from the side, that slides up and open fires. When you see it coming, you slam your brakes and you take the hit from the rear. Your vehicle has been reinforced and it's going against much smaller vehicles. And then you forget about the traffic laws, the laws they don't actually obey anyway, and you turn off to the right or the left and you evade. You get away.
This big white SUV is coming up on my left side, and I'm watching it, and there's a pretty good sized guy driving. And I can see somebody moving around in the back seat. So I'm watching, I'm paying attention because I'm driving, but I'm keeping an eye on this truck coming up on my left side. And it keeps coming forward, keeps coming forward. I'm seeing movement in the back seat. And I'm ready to react. I'm fixing to do what I know how to do to get us out of there. Slam your brakes and turn to the right or left. And it's a woman in the back. You can tell it's a woman because she's got the burqa and everything covering her up. And I'm watching, and she keeps looking at the driver and looking over at our truck, looking at the driver, looking over at the truck. And she keeps looking at the driver. I'm going, something's fixing to... And we're coming up. So I'm keeping an eye on what she's doing. I'm looking for a weapon, a barrel, anything to come up. I'm on her locked, keeping my eye on her, seeing what she's doing as this truck comes up. And we're probably doing 50, 60 miles an hour. And so I'm watching, and as they get up beside me, the girl looks at him, looks at me, and grabs a burqa and pulls it open and closes it. Shows me her face.
Oh, she's flashing you.
She flat because only a woman's husband is allowed to see their face.
Yeah.
So to them,
that was a big deal.
That was huge. She just flashed me.
That's not what I would consider a flash, but as the professor said, where you stand on an issue depends on where you sleep at night. It's circumstantial. The past explains the present action.
Now she has a story that she flashed an American soldier going down. I mean, that became a story and a hilarious from then on. I mean, just being able to tell people that I got flashed going down the interstate in Riyadh. And it completely lightened the mood. Me and the colonel laughed about that from then on.
Now, same city, same road, same trip, different details.
But on that same trip, on that exact same trip, we're coming into Riyadh, Cloverleaf, vehicles everywhere. And you know how it does here in Birmingham when you get ready to come on or go past an exit ramp or an entrance ramp, all the traffic bunches up and slows way down. Yeah. Everybody brake lights. Okay, I'm coming up to this Cloverleaf and the same thing's happening. I mean, everybody's moving 60 mile an hour. Everybody starts hitting their brakes as traffic's entering, traffic's getting off. We're coming down there, and just as I'm going by underneath, a loud explosion goes off. Sounds just like a shotgun. I didn't react and jerk the truck all over the place. I knew that I wasn't hit. But the panic was still, I don't want to turn and look at the colonel because his head's probably gone. And just as that thought comes through my mind, he says, "Are you okay?" A car had backfired coming down the entrance route. And it was right beside us. As it was an old farm truck coming down, and it got there, and when it popped the clutch or whatever it did, the truck backfired. Scared the poo nanny out of me. I just knew one of us had been shot.
And what would you have done if the colonel's shot? What's your
get to a safe area or get to where I'm going to be able to report what's happened.
What's happened?
I mean, at that point, it's do whatever it takes to get to your next stopping point to complete the mission. I mean, that's really what matters.
There it is. The mission. In the previous episode, we talked about Trent coming to an awareness that he was expendable in the service of the mission. This is yet another layer of it. The colonel was apparently expendable as well.
But those were two events that have stuck with me for so long. And the lesson in that is we tend to react on environmental issues. Stuff that happens, a tree falls, a truck backfires, a blowout. You can't always immediately react to everything that takes place. You have to stop and assess the situation to find out exactly what it is. Because had I have responded the way I was trained to respond to a gunshot going off, there'd have been a whole lot of injured people. I'm driving a military vehicle that's built to withstand some events.
Yeah, you know you can take the hit.
All the cars around me are not.
Right. These are little flimsy.
Day run of the mill.
Yeah, it's not even. I mean, like if you've obviously been, but people that are listening, if you've been overseas, you realize our cars, even our small cars that we would think of as tiny cars, are more substantial than their big cars.
Right.
Even their pickup trucks their diesel trucks are different. It's like everything is
flimsy.
Yeah, it's so much smaller.
They don't have the regulations and the laws that we have here.
I mean, their cars are driving around on what would be the equivalent of our like little, the toy tire spare tire. Mm-hmm. Like that's the actual tires for the cars.
Yes.
Like they're like one step above
a go-kart.
Yeah, it's like if you could turn a golf cart into a car with slightly different wheels, an engine,
bigger engine,
and turn it in, like make it a car. I know that sounds bizarre, but yeah, it would have been a lot of people hurt.
And so, there's a lesson there in that has been that I carry with me and think about what could have happened had I have responded just on what I heard.
It would have been an international incident.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have really, I mean, you had a colonel.
And so...
And there's a fine line between like something that triggers you emotionally,
right,
and then getting it right with your training.
And
if
so
you got it right, everybody's like, "Oh, good job."
But if you get it wrong,
ooh,
yeah, you can have 100 good boys. It don't take but one oh darn to ruin it all. And so I had that lesson but it's amazing what God will do to make sure that you get the lesson.
I jotted some notes while Trent and I talked. Every now and then, you might have picked up on it. He said something like, that was another lesson.
That you learn what he's trying to instill in each and every one of us if we have ears to hear and eyes to see.
Here's a list. One lesson came when they were testing the new equipment from GE out on all the land near Fort Hood, and the winter weather came in, complete with an ice storm. The lesson was that you've got to persist and find a way. You don't just quit because it gets hard. Another lesson came when the colonel revealed that his life, Trent's life, was expendable. The lesson was that you need processes and systems so that the mission you serve can be something that's bigger than you, that builds beyond you. And this is yet another lesson we've encountered in these 2 episodes. The lesson being, you cannot just react to circumstances. Sometimes, even when things are moving fast and there are real issues at stake, you need to slow down and take it all in. Now, that's a hard lesson because we live in a world that thrives on the immediate and the instant and seems to value quick action and often justifies the action if it was the wrong action after taking action by blaming the circumstances that allegedly caused the action. But you don't get a hall pass because you were in the middle of a tough circumstance. That's combat, and to some degree, that's life.
Different time, same situation. We're a half a mile off of the border of Iraq. Our site has moved up here. You've got several different sites that are set up, different units. The cavalry, the mechanized cavalry, the M1 tank units. They've got their sites. We've got our sites set up.
The mechanized cavalry.
Yeah, mechanized cavalry.
So we're not using horses, we're using
tanks and big, yeah. You have the engineers, the ones that make the roads for us to go where there are no roads. They're up there. You've got a helicopter unit that's across the road, and you've got a 2-lane road that, as far as you can see, straight. They show up with these trucks that are spraying diesel fuel on the sand on each side of this road, and they're just, you see them going up and down spraying this, and you can smell this diesel fuel, and you're like, what are these people doing? Well, after they did this for like a day and a half, they started landing C-130s on that road right in front of our site, bringing equipment up.
What was the diesel fuel for?
It hardened the sand so that they could land on
Water wouldn't do that?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I guess there's some chemical reaction.
That they were pouring that out, and it hardened it into to where they could land the planes on it.
Okay, C-130, if you're listening, that's the very big propeller plane. It's like a cargo plane. It's not the biggest plane that you can roll tanks and everything up into where you're moving, entire brigades. It's a
bringing the pallets of supplies.
Yeah, it's a big cargo plane though.
Everything else that goes along with.
You know why they called it a C-130?
Why?
Because the people that built it, like, it was kind of a joke. They thought they wouldn't get the contract. Lockheed built it. And the manual, when the request for proposal went out, was 130 pages long.
Oh.
I mean, that's it. Like, it's become the most versatile,
Cargo.
often used military craft. Because there are bigger ones, there are smaller ones, but like, that's kind of the...
But that's
it's kind of the school bus of the military, right? Like,
Yes.
when you're... So it's... Anyway, that's it.
So you've got them coming in, landing planes, but then you also have convoys coming in, bringing heavier equipment like the M1 tanks. I mean, the M1 tanks were just about as wide as the road, and they've got them on the back of these semi-trailer trucks, and they're moving them down the road. Well, one morning we had incoming colonel, female colonel, that was going to be taking over one of the mechanized cavalry units that was up the road from us. So whenever you do a change of a commander, you have what's called the changing of the guidon. Everyone has a guidon with the flag with their unit's emblem on that flag. In essence, it's a change of the guard, if you will, but there's a ceremony they have done, and the outgoing colonel hands that to the incoming colonel in front of all the troops and everything, and then there's a big...
Yeah, so it's not just, word traveling, hey, new person. Like, there's a formal changing of the guard. Yeah.
Changing of the guard that takes place. And so we were going to be transporting her over to this event the next day. So
and your colonel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But she's not taking over for your colonel. She's taking over the mechanized cavalry.
Yes.
Code name for we're not using horses, now we're using engines.
Yeah. So we go through the night's events. We talk, get to know each other. Next morning, we're out there at the vehicle, and now I'm driving the civilian-looking Japanese vehicle, the SUV. That I had. Okay, nice vehicle.
Lean in. We're about to have another incident here.
We get up the next morning. I prep that vehicle, get everything in there we need to have in case anything were to happen. We get in it. And just about the time we're getting ready to leave, there's a convoy coming of these trucks with M1 tanks on it. Well, I've got to get down this road to where she's got to be there.
This is a convoy of semis with trailers with a couple tanks on each.
Flatbed trailers, and every one of them has an M1 tank on the back of it. So as far as you can see, they're coming up the road. So we get ready, get in the vehicle. I pull out, and I'm kind of driving half on, half off the road because they put diesel fuel down. So I mean, it's just as hard as the road. I'm kind of driving there, going down while these tank convoy is coming towards us. They're probably doing 40, 45 miles an hour in the convoy. Of course, you speed up, slow down, the accordion thing that happens. And I'm headed in the direction we're going. And in the far distance, we see a glow on one of the tractor trailers, on one of the semis.
The final one, or just some?
Not final one, just one in the pack that's coming. There's a glow. And, I first noticed it, and I'm looking to try to figure out what it is. I begin to ask the colonel, "Do you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we're watching, and just about then, flames come out the side.
Oh, of the tank or of the diesel?
Of the diesel truck. On the front driver's side tire, flames come out from underneath, behind the tire and the fender well. Flames shoot out, and we see it. And just about the time we realize that it's on fire, that truck is probably 10 foot ahead of us. The semi coming towards us, we're going this way. And about that moment, the tire comes off. The front driver's side tire comes off that truck. The hub was on fire. So it had been that way in a while, and he's driving. Well, it had heated up and welded the hub off. That tire comes off and slams into the side of our truck. I mean, he hit my door. The tire comes off, hits the door. The truck comes up on two wheels. I come back down. I'm trying to keep from losing it with the truck that I'm driving that just got hit by this tire.
You have two Colonels in the car?
Yes.
Okay.
That hits my driver's side door. Of course, I sling them everywhere, just trying to get control of the truck without losing control and flipping. I keep it from happening, and I'm going, trying to slow down, stop, and get over to the side. I finally come to a stop. Now, while I'm doing this, trying to get control of the truck, I'm also looking in the mirrors and checking everything while I'm trying to get in control. That truck, after the tire come off, it goes down and that hits, and the entire truck with the tank on the back goes around.
The whole thing.
The whole
helicopters,
thing.
basically.
Helicopters, yes. And because all you got is sand, the road, and this sand that's been covered with diesel fuel, the truck don't flip. It just spins all the way around. Now, I get stopped off the side of the road. We're talking and recovering about this, and I'm able to open the door. The Colonel gets out. We come around to look. We see that tire still rolling down the desert out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, the tire's got a mission to go to base. Tires.
You can't overreact to situations. You have to be able to keep your senses in the midst of whatever's going on, because the mission still has to be accomplished.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you got to take the hit.
Regardless of how bad things seem, until you know and have a real picture of what's happening and understand the circumstances, you can't just react. Because that reaction may be the difference between you moving forward or you ceasing to exist at that moment. You were talking earlier about looking back at life events and knowing.
Now, as you and I start tying all of this up, notice the conclusion Trent makes here. Lessons he's pulled from the training, from the getting flashed incident, from the backfiring engine when he thought the Colonel's head was blown off, from the helicoptering semi that was carrying a tank when the front tire caught on fire and then blew straight into the side of his Japanese-made luxury combat SUV, to all of the other things in between. It's all a lead up to more, to serving others at a higher level and allowing God to express His presence and power through you to impact others.
That they happen for a reason. I look back on those events and I think about what I'm doing now and realize that all of that was preparation for what I'm dealing with now. Because people will make bad choices. Circumstances will happen. But being able to keep a level head and still deal with that situation is huge. And looking back in the past 11 years that I've been with Shepherd's Fold, there's things that have taken place, things that have happened that had I reacted in the way that without having a level thought or looking to find out the facts and the truths of what took place, it could have changed the outcome of that person's life dealing with that situation at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to use that information and to help explain it and give another perspective than what is seen on the surface is what makes the difference.
Yeah, that's... I've worked in that, I don't know if you'd call it an industry, field, job, I mean, that was one of the weighty things is like every decision that you make, you are impacting not just somebody's life, like in the sense of, oh, this might determine if they have a good day or a bad day. I mean, a lot of the decisions that we were making, a lot of them that you make right now, determine if people are free or not.
Right.
Or if they go back to prison.
Right.
Or if they get the job or reunite with their family or like they're weighty decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't want to overreact. But then at the same time, like sometimes you got to make the tough call that does have a major impact on.
But even in
else.
making those decisions and choices, there's still a graceful way to make those decisions when somebody's done something that threatens the group, the whole, the communal living. Whether it threatens themselves or threatens others in there, that we have to consider in dealing with 50 men living together.
Yeah.
There's still a graceful way indeed to make sure that they have somewhere to go besides the street.
Yeah. We'll continue the story in the next episode. Here's one thing I want you to carry. We're designed to grow by exploring the world around us. So we do, and every time a marking event in that exploration occurs, our subconscious memory stores it and stamps it with all those accompanying sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures. We bump into painful experiences as part of that exploration. Yeah, some of it's great and good, and some of it hurts the soul and the spirit, meaning that a lot of what gets stored and stamped becomes self-protective for the future. And that means we create often unconscious rules that, again, guard ourselves from future pain. Now, for sure, some of the rules that we create are functional. They help us, like Trent's lessons about finding a way to get the job done, building bigger than you, not reacting immediately, but slowing down. And other rules, they're not functional, they're dysfunctional. They don't help us, they hinder us. And the curveball in all of it is that some of the dysfunctional rules might have actually been functional in a different environment. This is, catch this, it's how God designed us. And it works well for our survival and our thriving in numerous ways. But the thriving isn't automatic. We'll explain that and get to it in future episodes. As you ponder it and work through it, my prayer is this: that the Lord bless you and keep you, that He be gracious and shine favor on you, and that you just pause. Lean in. Listen for the lessons He's teaching you, because you are one of His sheep, and His sheep can hear His voice. Jesus said, John 10:27, "My sheep know me, they hear my voice." That includes you. Grace and peace.